You maniacs! You blew it all up! Damn you! Damn you all to hell! Here we have the PCB, which is quite difficult to etch at home with toner transfer. First problem is the traces. They're only 10th thou. But 10th thou is possible at home. Like I did this board. And it's just got a few 10th thou traces and it came out fine. The other concern is the gaps between traces. If this trace is 10th thou, this gap looks a bit under 10th thou. And the problem with that is the toner. When this toner gets printed onto your paper, it has thickness. And the darker you make it, the thicker it is. But when you iron it down with heat, these traces squash down and flatten out and become wider. That's not a problem for the trace, but the gaps between the traces get smaller. So there's more chance of shorts. But the even bigger concern is the volume of these traces and gaps. Like all these pads have tiny gaps between it and the ground plane. And getting 100% consistency for so much small gaps over one board is pretty remote. Like even this one. It wasn't the small traces that were a problem. It'd be like a zone of bad adhesion where the toner doesn't stick to the copper properly. With these 20th thou tracks you can get away with it a bit because you can use a Sharpie to patch them up. But trying to get consistency over this whole thing 100% of the time is hard. Like even this simple one, I had to print it and iron it on 3 times before everything stuck to the copper properly. So if you look at this one, holy moly, the chances of having a poor adhesion point somewhere on this thing is pretty certain. But in for a penny, in for a pound, we'll just suck it up and see what happens. KiCad has a print function built into it. And you can adjust it here. So I've got the front copper only, 1:1 scale, which I don't know is going to be successful because you don't know how much the paper is going to shrink when you iron it. Shrinkage is a problem when you've got long rows of pins like this, because if it shrinks 0.1%, the distance between the ends of the header pin could shrink 1 mil, and it'd be impossible to get a header in there. We're going black and white, single page. Don't forget to select mirrored for the front copper layer like I just did here. We'll preview, looks alright. Then we'll print, get the preferences. I've got a special eBay yellow paper preference, quality, details, maximum dark, solid, print colored text as lines in black. This is basically as black as it's ever going to get. You got view settings and there's no brightness or contrast adjustment, so I'm stuck with what I've got. So you print that, and wouldn't you know, it's shit. The black is not solid black. You can see the yellow coming through. You probably can't see, but there's a light blotch right down this whole side. Look how blotchy the corner is. You can see the yellow coming through. There's just not enough toner down to be able to be used. Well, that doesn't work. Do you think this knuckle realizes he's running out of toner? Nah, no chance. He's not that smart. So how much time do you think he wasted filming and editing this crap about not being able to print with this printer? About 1 day. 1 day? What a knucklehead. Let's hope he sees it and cuts this bit short. In a mirrored version, the one that I forgot. It's getting to the point where you have to send it out and get it made. Oh well, at least it'll be professional. I suppose when you're spending $100 on components, you want to make sure it works. But I only wanted this for a bench mule with 4x4 injection ignition channels. That's the way the cookie crumbles. What the fuck? When did these get cheap? I swear when I looked at these things 3 years ago, the price was around $250 or maybe even $280. And $80 of that was just postage. Now it's saying $69. Righty hell. Shipping to Australia, $33 only. Damn. United States Postal Service. Well, that explains that. Because 3 years ago I made a post complaining that all US couriers are way too expensive. and that it's costing them sales overseas because of it. It looks like they listened and went to the US Postal. Something with a reasonable price. Frickin' hell. Like, how much is this going to cost? We might as well get this, because it's a waste of time fart-assing around trying to find these parts to save $5. Brainboard, oh, I've already got that, so I don't need that, because I already bought that for my firmware tutorial. How much is this going to cost? $117? Is that US? I suppose so. So how many shekels is that out of our stuff? 160? Fuck, that's not too bad, you know. You wonder why people fart ass around doing it all themselves. Making boards, finding parts. What a pain in the ass. Actually, to tell the truth, if you DIY this the eBay AliExpress way, it actually costs more. That's something to think about. Do you want to know the truth about DIYing this from plans on the site? Well, I've done it, and it ain't easy. If you're in the electronics field, you already have all your connections, like PC manufacturing supplier and parts suppliers. So you probably could do it cheaper, but it won't be by much. Like DigiKey, you can import your bill of materials, your BOM. And there is one here on RusEFI with all the part numbers, but see all these parts here? No part numbers. So you got to go onto DigiKey and find all this stuff. Then you come to the boards and manufacturing them. These guys are the cheapest. Let's just grab our Gerber. Ignore this price because it's a special first time offer when you use this site. But let's say we change something. We get a more realistic price. $41. You can cut it down to 5, but it doesn't make much difference. $36. Sure, you get spares, but what's the most you're ever going to use? Let's look at the tight-ass eBay versus the good shops. On DigiKey, here we can buy 3 of these resistors for 30 cents, and that's 10 values is $3. But if you go to eBay, the minimum order is 100, which is $1.50, so 10 values now become $15. Sure, you get heaps of spares that you're never going to use, but it's the bulk buying that gets you. Let's go to the most expensive part, the MOSFETs. You need 12 of these. So what's that, 38? Well, these you can't even find on eBay. The only place you can get them is on AliExpress. What is it, $21? Now check this out. See the writing on the chip, the font? That's not right. See the black dots on the ST symbol? That's not right. I guarantee these are fake, and I've had fakes. My fakes worked, but I guarantee it's some cheap MOSFET that's just been relabeled without any of the safety features built into it that the original chip has. Ironically, you're better off buying a cheap MOSFET with a different number off eBay, rather than paying the higher price this fake number suggests, because I guarantee neither will have the internal protection circuits of the original MOSFET. You only have to stall once pulling into a small gap of fast-flowing traffic to regret buying cheap stuff. Just the PCB and the correct MOSFETs, and we're already up to $60 in our $84. And that's not to mention the 100 other parts we have to find. You buy it from the site, it's just one buy, don't have to think about it, turns up, and you just have to put it together. The other way, you fart ass around for days looking for stuff, especially eBay and Ali, sorting all this crap out. If you're an expert buying reputable stuff, it's not too bad. It's just that it doesn't help the project. But if you're a beginner, hell no, don't DIY it yourself. The other benefit of buying it from the maker is that he'll throw the money back into the project and you'll get better stuff later.